What's going on, beauties of YouTube? Thank you so much for tuning in. Many of you may not know me on this platform, but my name is Josh, and honestly, my dream is to work from home but enjoy what I'm doing. So that's why I'm taking the leap of faith and trying YouTube out. Give me your thoughts on what you think of my stories and what I can do to improve them. Anyways, as you can see by the title of this video, we're going to talk about probably one of the craziest and scariest times of my life. So sit back, relax, grab some munchies, and let's get right into it. So 2 years ago, I was around 17 at the time. It was a pretty normal Saturday morning, waking up, getting ready for the day, and hanging out with one of my best friends at the time. Of course, I wouldn't release any real names to keep everyone's life private, so let's name him Tim. Now, Tim never had a job, but always had money. Now you're thinking, oh wow, sounds like your typical rich kid that's spoiled by his parents. Wrong. Let's just say he was an entrepreneur when it came to his peers, aka stoners. So being successful in the local area and being able to remain low was a big win in this case. And of course, he wasn't your typical douche trying to quote-unquote flex his gains. He just liked to have fun. Now that context will be important later in the video. Once I finish up my morning breakfast, I hit my buddy up to have a little morning joint to get the day started. So I drive over to his house. Took me about 15 or so minutes, and I pick him up because his mom didn't like us smoking at the house, which we both totally respect, but that was probably the safest place to smoke. I know when I have kids, and if they start smoking the ganja, I won't let them do it, but if they did, and I caught them, might as well allow them to do it in my household so they don't get caught by the police and or, a bad person, and just like in this case. Just because of my life experiences, which I'm about to share with you guys. Anyways, Tim recently moved into his mom's house, so we didn't really have an idea for a safe place to toke up, but we thought we could just go down to the basketball court and park down the road, which is literally, I'd say, 50 feet away from his house, roll up and smoke outside the car. So if anything comes our way, like the cops or anything sketchy, we could toss it and not get caught, We really didn't expect this to go down the way it did, but it did. Now, this basketball court's parking was on the road, a little bit of extra space on the side to parallel park. And there wasn't any other cars or people there, so we thought this was the perfect spot. So I parked the car, and at the time I had a 1997 Honda Accord, so it's a bit older, doesn't have automatic locks, no key fob, just a key. I turn the car off, and we get down to work, crafting this delicate yet beautiful blunt. Yes, I said joint in the beginning, but that doesn't matter now. Anyways, as I'm finishing up my origami, we see a man walking down the street. Now, this town has a crime rating of like a D, so that's not good. But we think nothing of it. He's about a 50-year-old man, missing a few teeth, and, since the car was off, we had the windows cracked down a bit so we wouldn't die of the heat, and unfortunately for him, he comes over and interacts with us, which we are high school students that have a heart and aren't dicks, so we try to be nice to this guy. But Tim had the lovely idea to tell him that he can hit it if he sticks around once the blunt's rolled, which I didn't really want because that's kind of gross, especially for a random crackhead looking guy on the streets. But oh well. We rolled it up, got out of the car, locked it, because this guy was being super weird, so of course I'm going to lock my car. As we're burning, I can tell this guy's off a bit, and he's older, and we didn't think he had bad attentions to a few high school students. We were just socializing with someone from the community. Once we finish up, I flick the roach and fist bump the guy. Tim and I walk back to the car, but as I'm putting the key into the slot to unlock the car, the crackhead puts his arm around Tim's neck and tries to choke him out. I run over to the other side of the car and try to pry him off. The guy isn't letting go to him at all. So I look the crackhead dead in the eyes and I tell him if he doesn't let go, he's gonna get hurt, since there's two of us, obviously. But, of course, in the worst situation possible, he doesn't take this warning. But who would be intimidated by two high school white kids that aren't really that big? I give him a few seconds, then I start wailing on the guy, but Tim keeps getting put in a headlock by this weirdo. Tossing and turning, we end up in front of the car and Tim finally gets on top. But we are trying to dip. I then quickly realize the crackhead has a super tight grip on Tim's wallet. I'm pretty shook as of now, and Tim just yells, "Help me, bro." So I thought quickly and gave this guy multiple warnings. I start kicking him in the face with all my strength. Terrible, I know. But when your best friend is getting robbed and you don't know what this guy's intentions were, you kind of just are in the moment and do whatever you can to get away from that situation. After I kicked him about 6 times, my foot hurt like hell and the guy gave up. He said nothing, got up, grabbed his wallet, and walked away. We took that moment to get the hell out of there and then thought, what just happened? I unlocked the car and drove off. I asked him how much money he had on him. The idiot had $600 in cash on him. Like, my guy. You can't be carrying that around. He didn't have anything stolen from him, thankfully. We both agreed to just go home and take in what just happened, to basically relax ourselves mentally. I dropped him off and I go home, thinking everything was done and over with. About 5 hours go by from the time I dropped him off, and it's around 8 p.m. I'm chilling playing Fortnite with a couple friends when I hear a knock at my front door. Extremely confused on who it is, I get up and answer it. Surprisingly, to me at the time, it was the police, asking to speak with me. I wasn't hesitant about it because I know what it was about, and it was about today. I know it was going to come up eventually, but I didn't think it was going to be so soon. I pulled my mother outside as well, just because I was a minor at the time, and it was her business to know as well. So the police asked me, what happened today? And I explained to him exactly what happened, even that we smoked the joint. So he knows I wasn't lying at all. Then he proceeds to tell me that the guy that attempted to rob my buddy is in the hospital. He explains that after the altercation, the guy went and passed out in his yard. The cops asked him what had happened, and he told them he was fine and just fell. As the officer is telling my mom and I what happened, he also tells us that he's known by police for his violence as well as his family, and hints that he's known for smoking crack. Just lovely, right? Then the officer receives a call and excuses himself from the conversation. We sit there and my mom's looking at me in disbelief, expecting me to do better, of course. Which, what can I say? I smoke and I wanted to hang out with my buddy. Both of our parents don't allow us to smoke in or around the house because of siblings, which is understandable. After a minute or two, the officer heads back over to us, and by the look of his face, things weren't good. He just bluntly tells us what the call was about. He tells me that I need to write a statement as well as Tim. It's understandable for the scenario, but then he tells me the guy is dead. He passed away from the altercation. The cop tried to not worry me, and he tells me that being on crack and getting into the altercation can give the user a heart attack, and apparently that's what happened. He told my mom and I that we should pretty much get out of town because the family has a bad reputation, and I might be in danger from this, as well as Tim, which we thought was ridiculous. From that day, I turned in my statement, and that was it. Didn't hear back from the officer, no charges were placed onto anyone, but damn, let me tell you, my foot hurt for a good week before healing. Do you think what we did was right? I don't think we had any other choice. Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you guys for sticking around. If you're a fan of this type of content, feel free to hit the subscribe and like button below. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. Also, while you're looking at it, if you want to head over to my Instagram at Reconsideration, show me some love on there. I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, I'm Josh, and I'm out. Peace.